Good evening, everyone, and good day and good morning. I am Lori Ann, and I am from Milton, Ontario, and I am that gal, and I am with.
My name is Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas. I am that guy, and here's how we see it.
So I want to say that I'm really excited about having a special guest tonight. I know that Roy and I have been sort of like chatting about things on our own, but we have a special guest. We have Doris here tonight. Doris, can I please ask you to say how you say your last name? I would say Parreno.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Okay, perfect. And she's here to discuss, she's a cancer survivor, which is absolutely tremendous. We really, appreciate those wonderful stories. So she's going to tell us about her journey through that. And Doris, please, we're going to ask questions as we go along, but please introduce yourself, where you're from, and let us know all about your journey.
Well, thank you, Lori, and thank you for having me on your show. This is really exciting, and of course, it's always exciting to be able to share this information with people, so that people know that they have options are available when there's like a cancer diagnosis. So in 2011, I was feeling a little bit tired. My stomach was bothering me. I didn't really feel like eating, which is odd because I love to eat all the time. So my friends suggested I should go to the doctor. And I did, and they said, oh, here's some antacid pills or whatever. But Doris, since you're here, and I figured since I'm there and I don't like to go to the doctor too often, I'll get the whole checkup too, and then get the mammogram, because in 2006, I did have a cyst on the other breast, but they said benign. So they said, don't worry about it, go on with your life. But at that point, I should have taken some remedial action and started being more proactive. Because even if there's cysts, that's what I learned, coming right behind it sometimes in time, I would say there could be a high chance of getting cancer somewhere else, because it means your lymphatic system isn't moving. There's parasites, there's things going on that your body isn't in the optimum state. So I went to get the mammogram, and they go, oh, there's a lump. But we don't know until you get it biopsied, what it is for sure. So I went through the biopsy stage, which, if people aren't to alternative, like I don't want to, encourage or give people ideas of things that they shouldn't do or not do. This is just what I did. And I did the biopsy, but knowing what I know now, I probably wouldn't even have done that, because I learned that if there is a tumor that grew, it could also be undone. So what comes up can also go away when you start doing the right things. So then I did the biopsy. It turned out it was malignant and it was cancer. And I thought, that's strange, because I don't look like a cancer patient, because I had an idea what cancer patients look like, and they don't look well. Like I thought, overall, I feel well, I look okay, but I knew my energy wasn't, well, actually, my energy was kind of low, but I just thought it's just because of, getting older or whatever. I didn't associate that with something going on in the body that was negative. And I thought, that's strange. And then before I knew it, they said, you have to go to see the oncologist, the surgeon. They're going to give you options. And then they told me, I had to get a mastectomy, because the cancer that I was diagnosed with was like an aggressive grade 3 type of triple positive cancer. And they said, I should do like a mastectomy, the whole 9 yards, and I would have to do chemo. To me, that was scarier. To hear that was scarier than to hear I have cancer. Mm-hmm. Because I know with cancer, I thought, like, I feel okay. Maybe I can work on this, and then, I could reverse it. I wasn't sure, because I really didn't know too much about the subject at that time. But I thought, going through chemo, I know I'm going to get knocked out and maybe possibly die, because I've seen my friends die. You know, people that I know, once they get into the chemo and all that, sometimes it's a downhill battle from that point on. And I thought, I'm going to be knocked out. I don't think I want to go through this, but I got to go through the process. Luckily, I had a homeopathic relative here in Ecuador, and I sent him my medical records. I told him what's going on. And then he said, and I said, they said, if I do all this treatment, I have an 80% chance I'm going to be fine, but 20% I could die. And then it could also lead to other secondary cancers like leukemia or whatever. And then he said, well, Doris, I can give you like 100% chance. And he's a homeopathic doctor here in Ecuador. And I thought, 100%? And I don't have to go through all this. I thought even if he's wrong and it's only 90, even 80%, it's still whatever treatment that is, it's not going to be doing negative things to my body compared to the chemotherapy. So I thought that might be an option. So, but I had to get, like I said, how much time do I need to do these treatments? How much money do I need? And he said, you have to come down for at least, 2 or 3 months. So I had to get my things organized, finish, some work I had to do. In the meantime, I still went through the process of meeting with the oncologist, seeing what they're saying, keeping my doors open. And then he told me in the meantime, get some vitamin C IVs and some other things I can do in Toronto while I came to get his treatment. And in that process, I came across Suzanne Summers, and she mentioned about this Germany test, or BioFocus Germany test. So it can detect cancer even before it shows up in the body as a tumor, because it's already happening in the blood, right? So I looked into that. I found out where to get that test done. I got the kit. I went to the nurse where I was getting the IV at. She took my blood samples. We sent it to Germany. When I got the results back, basically that test tells you which chemo would be most effective and which one would be least effective, but it also tests like alternative therapies. So if you're doing vitamin C or B17 or whatever it is, it'll tell you whether it's effective for that thing. I thought, well, that was pretty good. I didn't expect that from that test. But when I got the results back, it showed which chemotherapy would be most effective and not effective. So when I met with the oncologist, I said, which chemotherapy are you guys planning to give me? And because I was getting pressure from some family and friends, do the chemo. And I thought, I'm going to go through the process just to see what all this is about. Anyways, it turned out, based on that test, the chemo they were going to give me was not going to be effective. So I told the oncologist, so, I'm not the brightest bulb in the room, but to me, I'm just setting myself up to be one of those statistics of the 20% that aren't going to make it if it's not going to be effective.
Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Sure.
When you met with the oncologist after this test from Germany, did you get a lot of pushback from them about that test?
Yeah, I go, well, like I said, because I asked her, I go, do you know about the immune system and like how I can boost it up? She goes, well, the immune system, and I'm dealing with the top oncologist in Canada apparently. Well, the immune system, it's kind of, we don't recognize it 100%, but they always say that the person's immune system goes down when you do chemotherapy, right? So I go, because this test also gives you a measurement of where your immune system is at. So in my case, it was at 8%. Average rate should be between 27 and 30%. And then it also showed my hormones were out of whack. It showed everything was out of whack. So I said, look, I got this test done. Like, do you understand? Like, do you recognize like circulating cells? Like, she goes, yes, I know what that is and stuff like that. But already I was kind of viewed as like, oh, we have one of these questions.
The Googler is what we call them too. Sometimes. May I ask a question? What inspired you to find the Suzanne Summers kit? And how did you come across that?
Well, I was getting pushback from my family and friends about the chemotherapy. They were saying, Doris, especially because they came with me to the doctor, and the doctor said, you're gonna die, and they're there, Doris, it's aggressive, blah, blah, blah. And I was just sitting at my desk one time working, and then I saw like an interview with Suzanne. Sometimes I think things happen, in divine ways
Yes.
that it's hard to explain, and it just so happens that this topic came up. And
That's
I thought,
beautiful.
oh my God. And then I Googled, where's this BioFocus? Where's this Germany test? And I mean, it's not a cheap test. I guess that's why they're not doing that. But they are doing this, what they call customized now. They're getting a little bit more into this customized thing, like a Princess Margaret. But it does cost them extra money. But it costs more money to do this trial and error things with people.
So did you end up doing the chemo or not doing the chemo? So what went forth with that?
I talked to the oncologist. I showed her the test. I talked to her about it. I go, look, I did this test. I sent it to Germany. I go, circulating cells, things are off. This is what's off. My immune system's down. Can you help me with all this, bringing my immune system up, balancing the hormones, and then we're going to have the formula, right? And she goes, oh, no. She goes, no, that's not the way we do things here. I go, I can go, I said, I can go to any hospital in the world, New York, LA, like whatever. I'll do whatever. She goes, anywhere you go, you're going to get the same answers because we have the standard of care. You have this type of cancer, you get this type of treatment. That's it.
So how did you get past that then?
So then I said, I said, to me, like, this makes sense that I'm going to be one of those statistics. So I don't want to, proceed. I don't want to proceed with this, right? Because I already started doing the alternative therapies based on that test. And I started to see my inflammation going down. Things were kind of leveling off. And I started to kind of figure out cancer, in my way. And so then I thought, okay, so then I'm just going to continue on and then just do testing and retesting. I mean, for me to do that, and not depend on the OHIP system, it does cost money. But I figured, I'm going to die anyways, probably. So why not just spend my money and do the right thing? I mean, at that time, I didn't know whether what I was doing was going to be 100% of what I'm doing, is 100%, but I just went with my gut feeling and common sense.
Excellent. And so you didn't do chemotherapy and you survived the whole thing without any
radiation, no drugs, no chemotherapy.
Beautiful story.
Do you mind kind of in your homeopathic journey, what are some of the things that you did to circumvent having to do the chemo and all that stuff through homeopathy?
Based on the Germany test, it showed what alternative therapies would be most effective for that, right? So before getting that test, I did this whole therapy with B17 IV, and that didn't really seem to be the most effective, and it cost like $4,000. So knowing what I know now, that Germany test would have saved me the money. So in that test, it tells you like what supplements would be most effective for that type of cells. So I just went to naturopath, I got those supplements, and then I came to Ecuador, and then I used the supplements based on the test, plus the therapies that the homeopathic doctor was giving me. Like he was, doing what's called German acupuncture. So you get injected, not just like acupuncture needles, but you also get injected with vials of homeopathic remedies, like to detox the pancreas, detox the liver, balance the hormones, all this stuff.
Wow.
And then when I did that, and then when I went back to Toronto, I redid the test again, Germany test, and it showed that my immune system that was at 8% went up to 27%. So my body was fighting back. Wow. And I even looked different. I felt different. My energy was different, compared to how I was feeling before. And then a lot of those numbers of circulating cells, they went down. So I knew I was in the right track, but I had to keep on going.
Now,
And so did some other therapies.
sorry, Doris, would you have any advice for anybody? I mean, obviously, this was your path to choose, but your advice through that path, how did it feel? How did you feel going through it? I mean, as you said, you didn't want to go through the chemo, you chose this path. Just how did you feel going through that process? You said it cost money, but overall.
It was a lot more pleasant because when I was going to the hospital to Sunnybrook just for the pre-testing and meeting the oncologist and all that stuff and walking through those hallways and waiting through those rooms, to me it felt like a big nightmare. You know, it felt like a Holocaust, you know, seeing the poor people with their hair missing and, you know, nothing, and they're very depressed and they're very sad, and, you know, it's not a pretty picture. I'm sure, you know, you've probably had the experience with family and friend going through that.
I did.
Not pleasant.
So would you say that you believe that also part of the treatment that you went through is there's also a positive to the fact that you weren't around that environment, which probably helped your...
I think so, because I mean, you know, I went to private clinics in Toronto, so all of them are, you know, it's like, in a way, it's like going to Starbucks, you know, and you're meeting people and they're getting vitamin IVs and you're, you know, they're juicing and having juices and you chit chat and it's all positive, you know, and everyone's going in the right direction. I mean, sometimes you do meet some people that they went through the conventional method and now they're trying to, you know, do what they can through the alternative, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and you see some people pass away. But in general, you're meeting people that are kind of okay financially to even consider that, because in Toronto, considering alternative therapies at a naturopathic clinic and getting, you know, top-notch service, it does cost a lot of money.
Yeah,
you know,
it's not covered at all.
Not covered at all.
Now, granted, we do know also, I mean, from my experience, and it wasn't a breast cancer issue, but my sister had to deal with a son who had cancer. And there's something that we do know, though, is that even if a lot of it is covered by our OHIP, there's still a lot that's not covered.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
You know, so people out there, they think, I'm covered under OHIP. If I get it, I'll be fully, you know,
Yeah.
It's not that way. I was surprised.
Yeah, and so like, you know, going to those clinics and doing the treatments like to really get healthy, which means you have to get massage therapy, foot detox, this detox, that detox. It's like you're really feeling like you're pampering yourself, and you're doing stuff that you never like put the time in to do for yourself. And it's like, no wonder I got sick. You know what I mean? Who knew? Who knew about all this stuff? Like, I mean, you know, with this cancer thing, I'm not a victim to cancer. Like, to me, I really believe I created my own cancer because of the lifestyle, and I was neglecting my body. And you think you can get away with so many things because overall, I've been healthy my whole life, right? And you think you can get away with maybe, you know, not eating healthy sometimes, or, you know, not treating yourself, putting time for yourself, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, you got to put time into yourself now.
Perfect.
And
so what are you doing now, Doris? Like now that I know that you were saying that, is this something that you're helping people with as well, or consulting with, or I think you're in real estate as well, right? So have you just...
Agent, yes, that's what I do. That's how I make my livelihood, you know. But I've also become like a health advocate, you know, a health and wellness. Like I've kind of jumped on that bandwagon of people that, you know, I mean, like you kind of become a little bit more enlightened into the reality of the world. Like you don't take everything for, you know, for book value sort of thing. Like when somebody says something, like when your doctor tells you something, it's like some people just really go with it because they don't know. They didn't do any research, right? Whatever the doctor says, they're going to do. The doctor says take 20 pills. they're taking 20 pills, you know, and then now I'm part of the group that's like, what is in that pill exactly that you're taking? And what are the side effects? And is there other options? And so, you know, it's kind of like inquisitive. So I am a health advocate right now as well.
Do you
So,
speak, or do you like have a newsletter, or do you have anything that you do on a regular basis to get information?
I just have like a podcast book club where I've gone through certain books, certain health books, where on Sunday mornings, like, you know, we read like for 15 minutes, have discussion on particular books. Like right now, I'm working on the book, what's it called? The Maker's Diet by Jordan Rubin. And I'm almost finished that. And before that, I worked on many Gerson books. I don't know if you're familiar with the Gerson therapy books, and then also on essential oils, desk reference, all these different things and tools. And so I have this podcast book club on Sunday mornings. And next book is going to be one with this gentleman. His name is Adam Masters. People that discovered their way of healing cancer naturally, typically, or not cancer, just cancer, but disease or, you know, ailments, right? So people could have options. But even if people decide to do whatever their doctor tells them to do, that's fine. They still have to do this other stuff to kind of help support their body. Unfortunately, we're not taught any of this in school. Like, we're not taught that we should be cleaning our liver and our colon on a twice a year basis because it's not convenient, right? So you have to like educate people so they could take responsibility over their health.
So Doris, have you been out there also and doing any sort of public speaking? We really appreciate your time tonight, but just getting out
I
there.
do. I haven't done anything this year because it's kind of already June. But typically, I like to do little workshops. You know, little workshops, and typically I have this one. It's like 90-day rejuvenate. You know, it's like over 90 days, a system to help rejuvenate your body and clean your liver and your colon. Because when you clean your liver, you rejuvenate.
Yeah.
You get younger. It's a natural facelift.
Nice. I should probably do that. Don't you think?
Yeah, really. I mean, I would be interested in that. Yeah.
I would too.
Yeah.
So here's a couple of things. We just wanted to mention that for anybody listening tonight, breast cancer is not just women. It is a lower percentage, 4% of men. And we were just looking at the stats tonight before we started this podcast. In Canada, 2,600 on average males get it a year. So it's not just something for females to check. It's also for males to check as well. Be careful on that. I watched a show about it just actually earlier, which was just, you know, you were talking about, Doris, things that happened for a strange reason. And I watched that and I thought, wow, we have our special guest and here was a show about men. So, you know, men, don't be, you know, thinking that you may not be. It's good to get it checked. I know it's a small percentage, but you might be that 1%. So Doris, where would they be able to get information? Do you have a blog anywhere, or maybe you should start one, because this is really good information to share with people?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I should start one. But on my personal website, my real estate website, there's all the contact information, emails, phone numbers, everything. And then my website is my name, www.doris, DorisParreno.com.
With no dots or anything, just straight across. DorisParreno.com. Perfect. If you've heard that, again, it's www.DorisParreno.com.
No, E-N-O.
E-N-O, sorry. Yeah, E-N-O.com. And please visit that for some more information. That's just wonderful.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you being here with us again, Doris.
Yeah.
And is there anything else that you have to ask, Roy?
Well, you said this happened in 2011. Is that correct? So it's been 9 years. Wow, that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so again, anybody out there, and You know, Doris, that was a beautiful thing that you said. It's not that you're saying that use the alternative, but it's even if you're going through the chemo, it's still worthwhile doing that alternative at the same time, because we don't pamper ourselves. And we don't quite many of us don't actually detox. So thank you for sharing.
Well, we don't know like no one's who's telling people this, right? We don't know any better. So
well, there's something for you to think about. You know, you go into the schools and say, hey, I want to be a special guest, half hour with the students, an hour with the students, and get them on board with it. A lot of things that we weren't taught as kids that we're finding out now as adults, aren't we?
Yeah.
But, exactly. Unfortunately, it's in a crisis situation that you find it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're reactive, not proactive.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is that in Canada, because we have the free healthcare, people just go to what's free. You know what I mean? You get all this free medication, free doctor, take it. Meanwhile, it does more harm than good a lot of times. In the States, I find because they don't have free medical care, right? People look first for alternative ways, and then they go to the medical system. Am I right, Roy?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
But you have to know where to find it. You have to go to the right people. You have to know what you're doing.
So basically, once you start down this path, you become a researcher.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's up to you to find out what you need.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing is that right now, compared to in 2011 when I was going through this, there was some information out there, but right now there's even more information out there. There's so many Facebook groups, so many resources, so many YouTubes that, you know, it's just a matter, you have to connect to the right Facebook group sometimes, and then they'll guide you along to, you know, where to go or who to look into.
It would be nice though, you know, I remember back when the internet started, but we used to have these where there would be one page with a whole bunch of, you know, contacts that you could go to.
Yeah.
And something in your blog, if you want to think about, would be wonderful if you pull that sort of resources together on one page. Obviously, you're not going to have all of them, but enough to get people started, because where do you start, right? And Facebook can give you all these different, but you're still scrolling through it. It's not one.
Well, it's like the test from Germany. I've never even heard of that before.
Neither had I. No.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I know.
If that's the only thing I got out of tonight, I'd feel like it was worthwhile to know that exists, because you could tell somebody, hey, look, before you start doing all stuff, you want to check this, you know. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Want to share, Doris, before we say our good nights?
No, that was my website. If anybody wants to contact me, if they're interested in me being part of the book club, it's free.
And what is the book club? Is it the same site?
No, it's not the same site, but if they send me an email, I'll add them to the email list. And it's a little bit more of a podcast.
Perfect.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks again. We really appreciate it, Doris.
One more thing. Doris, if you're back in Canada, I keep going to say the States, if you're back in Canada in September, could Lori and I come and visit with you?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because I'm planning on coming to see Lori Ann in September.
Okay. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, we're looking at September 12th, right? Around that time?
I don't remember. I got somewhere.
Yes, I remember, because I remember.
Middle of September.
I took the time off work, although I'm still on COVID time because I'm not working, but I took the time off work.
Yeah.
We don't know. I may not be back by then either, but we'll see.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Look me up. And, you know, I know a lot of interesting people that I've met through my travels that would love to be on your show.
Great.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Well, everyone, thank you very much. We really appreciate Doris being on. I am Lori Ann. I am back Gavel from Milton, Ontario, with my partner.
I'm Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas. Thanks everybody for coming. We appreciate it. And thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.